Welcome again. It's Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's another wonderful edition here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I am excited to have you here. Thank you very much for choosing me. It's an honor. I'm grateful consistently to come back here every day to bring you the best of football analysis and discussing the game of football. Today, it is huge stuff. First of all, Chelsea lack proper left back by taking Ian Matheson out on loan to Dortmund. Yesterday, at left back, Levi Kolas played at left back. He was targeted by Jones and then Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick's game plan, however, was hinged on how to stop him. Because every time that he had the ball, Jones, their wing back, will come in and press him so that one of their strikers will drop centrally to clock central areas and prevent central progression from Chelsea. There is a lot of stuff that we talk about. Breaking down the game minute into minute details, step by step, and then looking exactly where things got wrong for Chelsea Football Club. But even before that, we'll take you through everything transfer on the transfer market. We'll give you our AFCON tidbit, and then we'll discuss every detail in the game. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you've not subscribed to the channel, I'm on YouTube. Pause the video, go back, subscribe to the channel, and then of course do turn on your notifications. Right after you do that, make sure you do choose all. My name is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, and I'm grateful to have you here. It's a lot to unpack for you. Timo Werner, Tottenham Hotspur ironing everything with respect to the loan details for him to join Tottenham Hotspur. Then there is the bit about Radu Dragusin, who is joining either of Bayern Munich or Tottenham Hotspur from Genoa. It is a transfer tussle as it stands now. In fact, first, Tottenham Hotspur were reported to be in a race for him. First of all, the push for him, he had agreed to come. Then Thomas Tuchel spoke to Radu, and then he spoke to Bayern. They said, okay, let's speak to the player. The player said, okay, I'm open to joining you. Then they were almost swapping in to get a deal done. Then quickly, he turned back, and then Tottenham are offering improved wages, improved offer. Everything that is in there is going to be improved for him. And all of a sudden, he is looking at turning around and joining Tottenham Hotspur again. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. We'll discuss Chelsea. Are you still Pochettino in or out? Have you changed your mind? I want to hear from you. Pause the video now and reply me. Are you still Pochettino in or out? Do you think Pochettino should be in or he should be out? Do you think that Pochettino should go now, or you think that Chelsea should be patient with him? How and where did Chelsea lose the game yesterday against team that's called Middlesbrough at Riverside? We'll break the game down into details. We'll look at where Chelsea made some mistakes. We'll talk about Axel Desassi. We'll talk about Levi Cole at that left back role. Then we'll go in and speak about the fact that the use of Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea Football Club and Moise Caicedo, and then everything that has to do with them. Do you think that Pochettino set up Chelsea well yesterday against Michael Carrick's side? Or you think that it is a regular mistakes that Pochettino has been doing in recent times, not setting up his teams well, making some mistakes here and there, and then again coming back, losing the game, and then not blaming himself? But hey, you've forgotten that the number of chances that Cole Palmer also did miss against Middlesbrough at the Riverside. So there's a lot to unpack. Transfer news also in there. Manchester United have some transfer news in there. We'll go ahead and talk about Liverpool and Arsenal and all their teams that are looking to beef up their squad. Somebody told me that it looks as if the number of games that Manchester City have on the horizon, they are easy peasy games and they can turn on the heat on Arsenal. So maybe it looks as if Arsenal are going to come down crashing. It's a long discussion here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But then let's get straight into it. And first of all, I want to talk about Chelsea's first player that they want to get as centre-back. I've told you, Chelsea wants aggressors. They want the difference between a cat and dog personality trait at centre-back. The cats more are gentle. They read a game. They step into danger. They play nice every time. But the dogs are the aggressors. They are the dwellers. They are those that go into battles. And Chelsea are looking at one of such characters I'm looking at. It is Benfica's Antonio Silva. Very important player for Chelsea. It is not just Chelsea who are looking at Antonio Silva. Teams like Madrid are looking at Antonio Silva. And Chelsea want to make sure they get their job done first. Mind you, Chelsea have an already fractured relationship with Benfica, with the sale or the purchase of Enzo Fernandez at the time. And then they want to make sure that this time everything goes on well. They want to get it done quickly. They want to sort it out. They don't want any extra fraction of the relationship. And Todd Boehly wants to repeat the operation that he did for Enzo Fernandez in January. I just think that in January, Chelsea may not want to go full throttle for a defender, especially given the investment that they've done. Also, it will depend on where Wesley Fofana is with respect to his recovery. If Fofana is back with his recovery in full force, then I don't think there's going to be a big deal at all. I don't think there's going to be a big issue, and they are going to rush in to get a new centre-back in that game as well. Then in the context of this, we'll speak about centre-backs like Axel Disasi. I am disappointed in Axel Disasi. Disasi, for several times, every time that he gets into games, makes some mistakes, makes silly mistakes, and especially when he's defending on the move. Disasi tends to make silly mistakes. He does the basic stuff. Look at the goal that Middlesbrough scored yesterday. He was on the move, allows the player to get ahead of him, and then slots the ball in. It is basic, flawed mistake from Axel Disasi. And that's why, for me, I've said consistently that if you want to get the best out of Chelsea as it stands now, you need an extra aggressor at centre back. You need another aggressor. You need somebody that will push up, that will be more aggressive, that will help the team to win the aerial duels, that will help the team to get into duels, that prevents stuff like this from even getting into the box. And that's exactly where Chelsea are with respect to the centre backs. And of course, we are going to discuss the other transfer conversation across the various teams in there for you. I'll discuss, first of all, is Tottenham Hotspur going to get Timo Werner. So I told you yesterday that Timo Werner is already done. Timo Werner is already done to Tottenham Hotspur. It's a loan deal, first of all. Then they don't have any obligation to buy. They have an option to buy, however, in the summer for excess of about 17 million quid for Timo Werner. So yeah, Tottenham Hotspur will look at doing the Timo Werner deal quickly. He's an important player. He will be an important player actually for Tottenham Hotspur and Ange Postecoglou in the league and other games. Yesterday I was asking you that did you ever think that Chelsea's front three that won them the last Champions League are going to be scattered across England as it stands now? But hey, that's exactly what's going on. Timo Werner possibly going to Tottenham Hotspur. Mind you, he has lived in London before. It is a big one for him. It's a big one for him in there for Tottenham Hotspur and Timo Werner. So yeah, I told you about Radu Dragusin. So Radu Dragusin is essentially an aggressive dweller centre-back in the Italian Serie A. He plays for Genoa. If you watch the Italian Serie A, you know he's a top centre-back. You know he's an aggressor. And he's a player that consistently wants to get ahead of things, wants to get into duels, wants to get into battles. And I think that he's a perfect fit in terms of combination with Van der Ven in the Tottenham Hotspur team. He is a top player. Again, if you even pair him with somebody like Christian Romero, who's also an aggressor, it is possible for both of them to be getting the job done because Christian is more ball playing, but also mixed with aggression. But then Dragusin is top aggressor, dweller, and he's going to lead the team's charge from the back. He's an important player. The talent ID for Ange Postecoglou, a game coming up, clutch, and getting some of the best players of course, in Europe. And now the package is supposed to be around 30 million euros for Genoa. And then, of course, Tottenham are getting the deal done for Radu Dragusin. Bayern Munich were in the offing. They were trying to hijack the deal, but that didn't go through. Tottenham were quick with it, and they've gotten the deal for Dragusin. Then that means that players like Eric Dyer will be falling out of sort at Tottenham Hotspur. They'll be looking at their futures. They'll be trying to sort it out. The Euros is coming on in the summer. He would want to get a place in Gary Southgate's team. At this time, it's a very difficult one for him. Of course, Bayern would want players like that. They want players similar to the pack. Mind you, Bayern wanted player João Palhinha from Fulham. They didn't get João Palhinha. It is still January. They've not sorted it out. And players like Eric Dyer may be looked at by Thomas Tuchel in that Bayern side. So yeah, Bayern have been left stand after Genoa centre-back Radu Dragusin inexplicably decided to choose Tottenham over a move to the Bundesliga champions. Of course, there's a lot of money for them in the English Premier League. Now, this story. So, yesterday, Victor Osimhen, the agent of Kavica Kvaratskhelia, Victor Osimhen's teammate at Napoli, came out and said that for Kavica, it is most likely that he's going to go to an European top team, say Real Madrid or something. But on Luke, he said that already Victor Osimhen has already signed contract extension, and then he will go for a big money in Saudi Arabia. There's no way he's going to play in Europe because Victor Osimhen needs the money. Kavica Kvaratskhelia doesn't need money, and that he's going to stay in Europe. Victor has responded this morning. I mean, you can tell that Victor is so distraught and so angry about what Kavica's agents did say about him. And this is exactly what Victor Osimhen has said this morning. He said, "Dear Mamuka Jugeli," and that's the agent of Kavica Kvaratskhelia. He says that, "Dear Mamuka Jugeli, you are a piece of filth and a disgrace. I'm embarrassed at your sense of reasoning. Dumb F word. I keep my name out of your mouth, my friend." That's exactly what Victor Osimhen has said about Kavica Kvaratskhelia agent, about what he said about him going to Saudi Arabia to go and get a job done in there for him. And he's saying that, hey, I am very, very distraught of those things that you are saying. In Saudi Arabia, however, this is exactly what's going on. And for the past few months, we've been talking about the extent with which Saudi Arabia want to develop their football. They've done it in the Saudi Pro League. Now, in their third and fourth tiers, they are looking at recruiting players from Asia, preferably, and then also in Africa. What they want to do is that they are offering these guys a house and then offering them 3,000 to 4,000 euros a month per house. They want to holistically develop their football ecosystem. There was a time I chanced on an article on the aggressive nature of Omar bin Salem, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. And if you look at the things that he wants to do, anytime he's asked about what's the model city for Riyadh or whatever, he doesn't say any other city in the world. He talks about New York. He talks about the European, the top elite cities. And exactly it is in that faction, it's that aggressive nature that he wants to develop the football in Saudi Arabia. And that's exactly what bin Salem is doing. Bin Salem is looking at bringing players, bringing them 3,000 to 4,000 euros per month and giving them a house in Saudi Arabia. So that's a big one for conversations in the Saudi Pro League in that regard of football. So yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. I think we are done with the transfer analysis as it stands now. We'll go straight into everything that has to do with football as it stands now, everything Chelsea as it stands now. Let's get into the Chelsea conversation. There's a lot more to have, a lot of the Chelsea conversation to have in here. Let's get into it now. Haha. So, as everybody knows, yesterday Chelsea played at the Riverside Stadium. It wasn't a good one. Chelsea lost by 1-0, and this is the first time that Middlesbrough are scoring at home in a very, very long time. In fact, yeah, in the preview, we spoke about how they were languishing below in the championship table, and it was going to be difficult for them to have anything on a team like Chelsea. But hey, sometimes teams like this, when Chelsea is coming home, they find a way to get it done. But I think the mistake was on Mauricio Pochettino. I know, and everybody agrees that he knew that Michael Carrick was going to go into a mid-block. So then he played a false nine using Cole Palmer. Essentially for Cole to drop centrally and receive the ball, then there will be a lot of rotations in Noni Madueke and Raheem Sterling. Noni's job essentially was supposed to isolate him 1v1. So if you watch the game closely, there were times where Noni Madueke will keep the width and then Malo Gusto will come centrally, right? He'll occupy the half space, he'll come inside on the half 10, try and receive the ball from there and then play forward. But that wasn't working because both of them were constantly in each other's ways. And I was thinking that there was a time where I felt that Noni should have varied his runs a little bit. Noni should have come inside sometimes for Gusto to go out wide, so that Gusto was sending some crosses. But hey, again, there was no striker in the box. So what's the point in sending in crosses? No box presence, no killer in the box. So what's the point in sending in strikers for Chelsea Football Club? And it was a game that was a little bit lackluster on the part of Chelsea. They weren't creating good chances. The few chances that came their way to Cole Palmer most of the times were mistakes from Middlesbrough. But hey, I have a big problem with Mauricio Pochettino with respect to his use of Enzo Fernandez. This is the reason why a lot of the people outside are saying that Enzo has been a flop at Chelsea. Enzo has not been a flop. There is no way Enzo has been a flop at Chelsea. But you see, even at Benfica when he was playing in the 4-2-3-1, again, do not ever discuss the game based on nominal formations. You are watching the game wrong. If you watch the game and you discuss it based on nominal formations, it is something you're not supposed to be doing. You watch the game and you discuss it based on roles. In fact, there are a lot of variations after the nominal formation. So under Roger Smith at Benfica in that 4-2-3-1. Yes, he was playing the 4-2-3-1 a double pivot, but he was more ball-sided. He was in charge of the progressive job over there. It wasn't any other person. It wasn't Luis or any other person. He was the one that was in charge of it. Over there, he was averaging 100 passes per game and averaging about 90 of accurate passes per game. Why? Because he was always gotten on the ball. He was always being gotten on the ball. At Chelsea, he's averaging about just 50 passes per game. And that accuracy has dropped to about 34%. He needs to do more. The pass volume is important for a player like Enzo Fernandez. If you want to talk about Enzo Fernandez, you speak about pass volume. Even if you go to Argentina and their role in his role in Argentina's winning of the World Cup, it's about pass volume. He was with Alexis McAllister at some point in time. There were times when Rodrigo De Paul would be in the middle of the park also with them. But he was the one that essentially had the pass volume. Even when you go to, say, Brighton and Hove Albion, where Moise Caicedo and Alexis McAllister were next to each other, who was in charge of the job of the pass volume? It was McAllister in that job, doing that job. But he comes to Chelsea. Caicedo gets to do the job of the first phase of ball progression for reason I don't know, and I think that's a wrong structure for Mauricio Pochettino. Caicedo gets that job done, and he does it very well actually. Caicedo does that job very well. I think that Caicedo is being misprofiled, playing in a different way. He's more of a box to box, and that's I think with the kind of midfielders that Chelsea have, it's supposed to be a complementing pair. It was easy for Enzo to play against McAllister because McAllister could do other jobs. If you throw in Rodrigo De Paul, he could even help more, right? But it is not a complementing pair at Chelsea. Caicedo and then Enzo Fernandez, it's not working at the base, especially when the rules at which Caicedo has and the role of the role of Enzo Fernandez also has in there. That's why, for me, in my opinion, the best way to build and to do the job for Chelsea Football Club in the middle of the park is to have Romeo Lavia. So that in build-up, it is Lavia, Enzo Fernandez next to each other. Then once you have these two next to each other, Caicedo does the box-to-box job. It is important. And this is not about somebody have a specific interest in a player or somebody have a thought about a player or what's not. It is just bare facts. And whether you take it or not, they are just bare facts. You take it or not, it's up to you. So I have a problem with how Mauricio Pochettino set up the team against Middlesbrough in there. Again, people keep on asking me, is it time for Mauricio Pochettino to go? No, he is not the coach that will take Chelsea to win the best trophies and go on winning streaks and whatnot. He is tactically not that guy. But at this point in time, if you tell me that Mauricio Pochettino has not developed Mihailo Mudryk, then I ask questions of you. If you tell me that he hasn't done a good job out of Noni Madueke in recent times, then I ask questions of you. And these are young players. Generally, that's a stock in trade. These are the things that Pochettino does for a living, and he's doing them well at Chelsea. In terms of setting up teams, he has made some mistakes. Yesterday's game was a mistake. I think that Michael Carrick won that tactical battle using Jones as a wing back. He consistently closed down on Levi Colwill, won the ball from him, and then used a striker to drop into central areas. When people say that, why are you playing Levi Colwill at centre back? Josko Vardiol is playing at left back. Ben White is playing at right back. What happened to all of those players? When Pep does it, the only difference why people give Pep a lot of praise for that is that he wins games. Now, Pochettino is not winning games. Hey, everybody comes and say, why are you playing this guy there? Why are you playing that guy there? There are issues. That game was a shambolic one from Chelsea. They make huge mistakes. Axel Disasi is in there for them. Made super mistakes in there. Same for someone like Levi Colwill. He was pressed. He was under a lot of pressure. He couldn't play out from he couldn't win that battle with Jones. And you can't necessarily call players like Enzo flops or that they are not good because they are playing in systems that are flawed. That structure that Mauricio Pochettino is playing them in is a flawed system. I'm telling you today, it's a flawed system, and he needs to do better. Pochettino needs to do better in setting up his Chelsea team. Else, he's going to put up these players every time, and then they are going to make mistakes in there every time that they play a lot of their games. It's an important game that they are playing. If you look at what Chelsea want to do going forward, the kind of games that are up for them to play, they need to change a whole lot of stuff in there, else there's going to be a lot of trouble. I am still not Pochettino out, but I think that he has a lot more to do. It is just 1-0 at the Riverside. The return encounter is in there at Stamford Bridge. He made mistake structurally. Pochettino cost Chelsea the game. Michael Carrick won that game, clogging central areas, going around the mid-block. And that's exactly what you do when you have a mid-block very, very stubborn. You have to go around them because you can't slice through them. especially when you don't have technical line breaking passes. You have to go around the mid block and then get a job done. And this is exactly when Chelsea were beginning to gain some confidence with respect to how they play in recent times. And it is static, right? Very, very static. Static. So if you look at one of the things I'm talking about and I'm seeing a lot of the times on social media, so somebody sees that this made up statistic, but Pochettino's Chelsea have been good tactically for less than 10 to 15% of his reign. Really does he use a 3-2-5 on the ball shape, and even when he does off the ball shape, it is often passive. The long-term trajectory of the process needs to change. As much as Gallagher has been used at Chelsea's best season, the way Pochettino uses him in epitomize what is wrong in the collective. He roams all over the park. You are never quite sure where he's going to pop up. It sums up the team's lack of consistent positioning. And again, it feeds into my general thought of Conor Gallagher. Conor in that team doesn't complement Ezo, and that doesn't complement Caicedo. A lot has to be done. Thank you, guys. I need to run. Thank you for choosing me. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I will be back again later. Take care. Enjoy. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notification. If you've not done that, do that now. Yeah, you that guy.